what SAPS are involved in at the moment is a collaborative fight against drugs via measures that I've indicated, occasional raidings of schools where SAPS get invited to schools and then they conduct raids and all of that. But just testing alone, unless some substances have been found and they require testing in labs, that ensues after what would have been seized by police in schools. But as I say, when we engage with the Department of Basic Education, we may need to overlap on those and say, what are the proactive measures that we need to engage? Of course, in order for you to test, you would need drugs themselves. Once there is that discovery, it does require testing to determine the type and all of that. And that would come out when we have our meeting later today with the Minister of Basic Education, so that we can move on with some of those measures.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. That brings us to the end of the follow-up questions for question 119. We now move on to question 113 that was asked by the Honourable Godsell. Honourable Minister, your response to question 113, please.
The protection that is provided to very important persons, VIPs, is regulated by Cabinet-approved policy and risk management system, protection packages of 2004, which specify the mandate of the South African Police Services. The aforementioned policy specifics or specifies that the provisioning of protection services to specific VIPs is based on risk determination, which implies that a threat risk assessment will determine security measures that are provided to VIPs. Now, I did see that the question does elaborate to say or to imply that that incident would lead to automatic increased security for the Deputy President. And we're saying no, risks get assessed first, and determination gets made, and then decisions get taken accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. Honourable Godsell, follow-up question.
Thank you, Honourable Chair, and good afternoon, Honourable Minister. Yes, indeed, you got the gist. While the President and the Deputy President refer concerns about their bloated blue light convoys to your office, you routinely block MPs' attempts at oversight through their parliamentary questions by citing security concerns. Yet, without scrutiny, Minister, the alleged stray bullet incident involving the Deputy President's convoy was used to escalate his protection, conveniently as the ANC succession battles heated up. So, Minister, how do you justify millions spent on VIP security bullies that still fail in their job, while ordinary South Africans wait for months for DNA results in rape and murder cases, and communities like the Cape Flats remain terrorized as the anti-gang unit is left crippled by budget cuts and poor SAPS leadership in the Western Cape Province?
Honourable Godsell, Honourable Minister, your response.
Thank you very much. I do want to separate things, and I would want to persuade us to separate things. In as much as one family can be seen to be wasting food and even throwing it away when next door is having problems, I do want us to separate things. Security-related matters and needs for money to do other things, so that we don't create an impression that those problems exist because all the money is used to secure the president and the deputy president. Having said that, I do want to say that go back to what I said, that any move on security for VIPs is done after an assessment would have been done, and thoroughly so, and get to determine properly what measures need to be taken depending on the outcome of such an assessment of risk or threat. And I would want us to cut our matter, just limit it to that, so that we don't get tempted to link things that do not necessarily link up. Because another person may say, we have lights in the NCOP when it is dark in some other area, and we should be sharing electricity or the electricity weight and so on. So I'm just saying that we need to focus on what we are indicating as criteria for providing any security, including any increase or decrease.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. We now move on to the next follow-up question, and that's from the Honourable Nue.
Thank you, Deputy Chair. Thank you, Honourable Minister, for the response to the question. Given the event that is been referred to in the main question and your response regarding the provision of the Act, I just want or request the Minister perhaps to give the South African further assurance that SAPS being responsible for the VIPs, that includes kings and queens and former presidents and deputy presidents and the executive, is the Minister satisfied that current measures are enough to ensure the safety of all the VIPs referred to above? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Nue. Honourable Minister, your response.
If you take any threat or any incident threatening any VIP or anyone provided with security, I would say we haven't received any complaint that the services that are being rendered to them is inadequate in any way. And therefore, I would respond by saying that we are satisfied that SAPS are doing their job. They are doing very well in that aspect. But I mean, of providing VIP services to the VIP security services to designated VIPs. And I would then go on to say, therefore, I'm satisfied, but indicate that it is trickling in to us that the demand that is being made on SAPS on this matter needs to be always be under control by the National Commissioner and all ourselves around him, so that we don't get tempted to really find ourselves in a problem in this regard. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. The next follow-up question is from the Honourable Gericke.
Thank you, Chair and Minister. We have recently witnessed contradictory media statements and political grandstanding from the ANC with regard to the reported attack on the car of the Deputy President. What is the official government response on the matter, and is there a definite investigation in this regard? If so, How far is the investigation, and if not, why not? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Karika. Honorable Minister, your response.
Following that incident, a government on the side of it did make a statement through the National Commissioner confirming that an incident had happened as alleged or as reported in media, and he further indicated and confirmed that the matter is under investigation and that the matter would be finalized in due course, and the National Commissioner will, in due course, at the right time, make good of that statement. We are also encouraging him to finalize that report and make it public. Now, I'm not aware of any contradictory statements from the African National Congress, and maybe we can call them to the NCOP to clarify the matter if that's a concern of the Honorable House. But as from the side of government, yes, those confirmations are there, and the matter will be finalized.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. The last follow-up question is from the Honorable Majola.
Thank you very much, Deputy Chair. Thank you very much, Minister, for your responses. Reading from your responses, you did mention that this VIP unit is regulated by pieces of legislation, which I also believe that the Discipline Regulation Act of SAPS is part of that. Without isolating one incident for the Deputy President, regarding a number of incidents that have been reported in the past 5 years, can the Minister give us a success stories with regards to the successful prosecutions or disciplinary cases that has been finalized? Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Majola. Honorable Minister, a response.
Thank you very much, Honorable Majola. Indeed, I confirm the regulations and confirm that there would have been incidents, including that one of involving the convoy of the Deputy President. And I'm not in a position to tabulate the list of successes and so on, but can confirm that whenever there is an allegation of misconduct of any kind involving VIPs, action does get taken against the member. These do happen from time to time, and those responsible for such actions, they do take them. I may as well say that the measures that get taken against members are in accordance with the regulations, and they follow procedures that are prescribed, like witnesses, like chair weighing up all evidence and all of that. So there are strict procedures that get followed in that regard. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. That brings us to the end of follow-up questions to question 113. We now move on to question 106 that was posed by the Honorable Herika. Honorable Minister, your response to question 106, please.
The response is that the anti-gang strategy was developed to ensure that an integrated and interdepartmental approach is applied to resolve problem of gangs. Now, gangsterism and address its root causes. The development of strategy was coordinated by Civilian Secretariat and included key departments such as police, correctional services, justice, and National Prosecution Authority, and education. Now, SAPS anti-gang units are at the forefront of policing interventions to address anti-gang related crimes, violence, and they work closely with organized crime investigations, the DPCI and NPA, and the anti-gang unit. They were all established in 3 provinces, namely Western Cape, Gauteng, and the Eastern Cape, and in additional 4 provinces where these were established at a level of a dedicated capacity to deal with anti-gang crimes, including in the Free State, KZN, Northwest, and Mpumalanga. Currently, all provinces have established anti-gang investigation units with organized crime investigations component, and the investigation of gang-related crimes are dealt with using either a project-driven or major investigation approach informed by Organized Crime Act 1998, Act number 121 of 1998. The DPCI, which investigates serious organized crime, has established a national task team, which is currently dealing with 3 major projects, namely Guardian and projects Phoenix 1 and 2. Multiplicity of teams from SAPS National Office are deployed at gang-related crime hotspots, such as Eastern Cape and Western Cape, to assist provinces with investigations of gang-related. The SAPS and DPCI also collaborate with Financial Intelligence Center and State Security Agency in some cases, depending on their nature and complexity. And this is our response. I submit. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. The follow-up question is from Honourable Gericke.
Thank you, Chair. Minister, yes, just last year, between the months of October and December, gang-related murders in the Western Cape province reached record highs, as 263 people were murdered between a space of just 3 months. No one can still be in denial that the current policing model is failing the people of this country. Given this grim reality, what urgent steps of intervention have you taken to deploy maximum resources on a 24-hour basis to communities such as Mitchells Plain, Hanover Park, Easterus in Pretoria, and Eldorado Park in Johannesburg? Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Gericke. Honourable Minister, your response.
In these areas in particular, and that the honourable member has referred to, and in other similar areas that he has not referred to, what is being said is true. Our take is that these areas, and others, of course, all of them, require measures that are in the process, that are in the making, if I could speak like that, because they require sets of actions that are not normal and part of normal policing. Now we are dealing with that matter, and we are taking it there to in the final stages, and we should be able to report in due course to the House once those actions, and by then I'm sure the actions will have taken place. It's clear to us you are not talking about hotspots here. We are talking about something else that is far more than hotspots, and therefore it requires extra measures. I would at this stage just put it like that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. The next follow-up question is from the Honourable Phala.
Thank you, Minister. Minister, you have adequately answered the question, but my question was going to be, are there any at least notable successes in these anti-gang initiatives. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member. Honourable Minister, your response?
Yes, I would say yes, but maybe not completely measurable in the first place, because these activities are criminal activities that are in the making, let me say, on a daily basis, and it's difficult to predict and so on. But I would say, let me use kidnappings as an example. Much as we can talk about a kind of an increase in the kidnappings in the country, but if you look at how South African police have resolved each one of these cases, comparing it to those that are outstanding, you would see that the number of kidnappings is trailed very close, if not completely at par with measures to resolve these matters, whether people are found alive or not alive. But in almost all the cases of kidnapping, at one point or the other, we do resolve such matters ultimately. There may be a few that, so I'm using that as a measure. What happens when an incident happens? We do take action, and most of the time we are successful. I may as well also want to warn the public. In some cases, we get false alarms. Yesterday, I got an urgent call in the evening that somebody's mother in the East Rand had disappeared, only to find that it was just a family squabble, and one member of the family took the mother away without noticing the others. And then it was reported as a kidnapping. And that people should excuse police from such unnecessary alerts. They were even reporting that the said police station only reported as having only one van. And within minutes, like 15 minutes or so, we're able to get that matter. And in about 30 minutes, get over the matter completely. So I'm saying that gangs are out there in action, but we may not be saying at this stage that as the activities happen, we're able to resolve them on the spot, but we are increasingly experiencing successes or seeing increased successes in dealing with gangs. Just yesterday, in Amaoti, 3 criminals which were wanted, or who were wanted, one of them quite prominent, they were dealt with permanently. And the day before, there were others in Hammersdale that received the same. And I'm saying, when you come to such actions, or we experience such incidents, police don't hesitate, just like in the Eastern Cape as well, and some of the incidents here in Gauteng. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. The next follow-up question is from the Honourable Mokai.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy Chair, and good afternoon to the Minister. Minister, the anti-gang unit has shown some successes in combating gang-related crime, particularly in areas such as Cape Town here in the Western Cape. Their efforts have resulted in numerous arrests, seizures of firearms and drugs, and a reduction in some types of gang-related violence. However, the effectiveness of the anti-gang unit is also influenced by factors like resource constraint and the need for ongoing community collaboration. Compounded by these functions to provinces and capable municipal governments, compounded by this is a highly centralized system. Can you integrate your support to review and devolve policing functions to provinces and capable municipal governments for a more focused and localized policing given specific needs of different communities? And this is in line with constitutional provisions, especially Section 206 and 207. I thank you, Honorable Deputy Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Mackay. Honorable Minister.
I would only emphasize the need for us to cooperate with or forging cooperation between national, that is SAPS, the next sphere of government, which is the provincial governments, and then local government, which is next sphere. So far, those agreements that we signed with the intention to collaborate, we are seeing progress, including what the honorable member is talking about. Now, as for devolution of power, we are not necessarily dealing with that matter, as long as we are, or instead, we are dealing with collaborative efforts between the three spheres, and of course, wanting to tap on capacity in the metros in particular. But the matter it does get raised from time to time, and recently we did complete our view and made it known on devolution, taking into consideration all the provisions from the Constitution to others. But it should not send any wrong message that the matter is being raised now and then, that a wrong message that that say that there is a miracle that will flow from any kind of devolution other than collaboration. What we need is more of collaboration, is more of understanding what we need to do on the ground, all of us working together to combat crime. That is what needs to be put in action and emphasized all the time. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. The next follow-up question is from the Honourable Farmer, who is on the virtual platform. Honourable Farmer.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Chair. Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable Minister, gangsterism as a national security emergency has evolved beyond localized crime. It now functions as organized crime syndicates, infiltrating industries like construction, transport, and even law enforcement. Has the government formally classified gangsterism as a national security threat? And if so, what steps are being taken to mobilize special task forces across departments? Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Honourable Farmer. Honourable Minister, your response.
Recently, we have taken a decision to split our one branch called VISPOL, that is Visible Policing. We are splitting it into VISPOL on one hand and operations on the other. Operation response kind of a division. There will be two divisions out of one, in other words. The reason for that is to do exactly what the honourable member, among others, is talking about, to increase our capacity and our presence and our operational capacity rather, and within a framework where you have very limited resources to say how do we optimally use our limited resources to actually achieve what we need to achieve, combating these highly organized crime syndicates that are found, especially in the 4 provinces, Gauteng, KZN, and Western Cape. And that is where we are saying we are going to, so that we can prevent a situation where they are ahead of us, and instead we are able to deal with them on time. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. That brings us to the end of follow-up questions to question 106. We now move on to question 120 that was asked by the Honourable Mananiso. Honourable Minister, your response to question 106. Question 120.
Yes. The South African Police Service has implemented proactive measures that aim at preventing unethical behavior and to improve integrity among employees. The SAPS has a code of conduct that is issued in terms of Section 24(1)H of the SAPS Act, and SAPS Employment Regulations 2018 Chapter 2 sets out the required conduct while dealing with various spheres of government, the public and other employees, as well as institutionalizing Public Service Regulations 16 in relation to the disclosure of interests and anti-corruption functions. SAPS employees are compelled to sign an annual certificate to pledge their commitment to both SAPS Public Service Act codes of conduct, and then that is SAPS and Public Service Act code of conduct. SAPS expect the highest standard of behavior on the part of its employees. And there are internal awareness programs to make employees focus and aware on through workshops and advocacy and all of that on ethics, awareness, and other related matters. And SAPS also implement security screening processes during recruitment and selection of entry-level police trainees, which includes fingerprinting, fingerprint screening with the local criminal records center, verification of qualifications with the South African Qualifications Authority, reference background checking with previous employers and schools, buccal samples taken at processed and possible criminal association, criminal intelligence vetting, citizenship vetting, verification of global access control system, financial status, conflict of interest. These are all the measures that get taken to ensure as much as possible that screening of members is undertaken initially, and that from time to time their integrity is put on check. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. The follow-up question from Honourable Mananiso.
Thank you, Deputy Chair, and thank you, Honourable Minister, for your response. My question is that noting that there's an ethical code of conduct that all police are signing, I want to check if these matters were part and parcel of the discussions during the police summit. So if it was part of the discussions, can you share with us what were the burning issues in relation to this matter? Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Mananiso. Honourable Minister, your response.
Yes, in the recent policing summit that we held for 3 days, this matter featured quite prominently, first in the addresses, firstly by the President and by us as well, but it went on to receive attention in the various breakaway groups and in reports back, and in the final product that was presented to the summit plenary. And in the main, it was, among other things, a very strong endorsement of the need to ensure within SAPS that integrity matters, good conduct, and related matters are upheld, including people facing consequences once they derail from the way. But we even added among criteria for trainees going forward that we're going to need licenses, driver's licenses, in order for them to qualify for training over and above matric, and all the other lists that I'm taking of, measures that are regarded as standing and standardized procedures. Yes, we want to uphold policing as a profession, a very, very prominent profession in South Africa, and let others, young people getting in, and keep those who are in continuing in the display of good conduct, and helping the profession and South African police to continue to be the pride of the nation as is happening now. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. The next follow-up question is from Honourable Mokai.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy Chair. Minister, given your response on vetting and accountability, how do you justify A, the quiet reassignment of a SAPS officer who was who was arrested in Kleinvlei over the Easter weekend with a large amount of men, drugs, and tech? B, the internal acquittal of officers involved in the Deputy President Blue Light case? And C, the mere 2-month suspension of Officer Sabodin for selling police dockers, when these cases reveal a clear pattern of SAPS leadership protecting compromised officers instead of enforcing credible discipline and ethical policing. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Mokai. Honourable Minister, your response.
I didn't bring with me the number of disciplinary cases that we have at the moment, and the total of disciplinary cases involving firing of police officers after disciplinary cases. But it's quite a remarkable number, if not shocking, which is a clear demonstration that action gets taken whenever there is wrongdoing on the side of police, of police officers of whatever nature. Now, the cases that he is referring to, like recent acquittal, these are matters that get dealt with following certain procedures within police, which all of us, like this one, the acquittal, wanted to see the report, wanted to hear what had happened, and preliminary reports show that there were procedural matters that were followed, resulting into that. Whether it's what would have been expected or not, like in any other disciplinary case outcome, sometimes you would expect something, but procedures and what actually happens during the disciplinary case process becomes or lands you in a different outcome. But we are making all efforts to uphold good conduct, to uphold ethical conduct, to ensure that police are not contaminated with rotten apples and so on. And this is shown and demonstrated by arrests. One of the most recent arrests is the one that involved an officer who has been accused for an alleged rape of a trainee at the college. Action was taken very swiftly, and he is inside. And we want to be as straightforward as possible and actually ensure that everyone who shows or displays a deviant behavior does, consequences do follow and follow swiftly to the best of our ability.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. The next follow-up question is from the Honourable Chirwa Mpongose, who is on the virtual platform.
Ke a leboga modulasetulo. Mosebeletsi o na le bosenyi bo bo diragalang mo di-locationeng tsa rona mo maphodisa a na leng sebedisano le disenyi. Maphodisa e leng ona a thusanang le disenyi. Disenyi di tlhotlheletsa badudi gore go be le thulano pele ga di-eyewitness tsa bone. And then the criminals go and open fraudulent attempted murder cases. Re tlhaloganye if the cases tse di ngodisitswe now on the system of the SAPS. The police then go and offer these alleged perpetrators who are innocent civilians an opportunity ya go timetsa di-docket ka theko e itseng. The most common amount being 10,000 rands. Whistleblower e tlileng le tshedimoso ye e tshaba go le bolella gobane this country has a bad record concerning whistleblowers, especially co-locationing where murders and crimes like murders don't even make the news or receive priority. Ba bang ebile ba bolailwe mosebeletsi. Potso ya rena ke gore, is there a special reporting system e na leng tisetso ya gore di whistleblower di fumane tshireletso na? Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Chirwa Mpongose. Honourable Minister, your response.
I will do the best to answer without anyone helping me with the interpretation or with the translation. We do wish and feel the need for whistleblowers on one hand to be protected. And in fact, the police have programs, specialized programs that put whistleblowers to protection, and currently we do have a number of them who are in such programs. But this is just to make sure that those who come forward with information that is helpful in unraveling some cases, that it happens. I do admit that there are incidents of police collaborating with wrongdoers, and I do want to confirm that in some cases you hear of dockets being sold and bought, and not only dockets, but a specific police specializing in some cases on destroying cases when such come to them. And I want to state it clearly that we are increasingly identifying such stations. We are increasingly identifying such senior police, because this is led by senior police officers. It's not led by young junior police officers. It's senior police officers that are involved in this. And we in due course, we will be taking action against those. And as I say, it's not exaggerating that some police officers unduly pocket money for missing dockets and all of that. So there is protection to anything that police officers do to destroy cases. They know it's breach of the law and it's breach of the conduct that is expected of them. And they know when they get found, they will be facing possible expulsion after due processes. But as I'm saying, we also implore members of Parliament to indicate confidentially to us when they come across such incidents, because we don't want to beat about the bush. We are against any police officer collaborating with criminals and selling dockets. It's wrong. It shouldn't be accepted by anyone, both in the public, but also by us as public servants, as public representatives. But as the department, we also are against that, and we're taking action against them. But we are wanting to quickly introduce technology. Is part of what our measures of introducing technology will accommodate e-dockets, so that even if you pay whatever amount, that collaboration doesn't end up destroying a case, because the case will still be reflecting technologically in our data, and this is part of eliminating this kind of old age criminality on the part of police. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. The last follow-up question is from the Honourable van den Berg.
Thank you, Chair. Minister, we've got another one for you. I know a young lady that wants to join SAPS to be involved in forensics and investigations out of real interest in this field, but she's afraid of a hostile working environment, victimization, and criminality at SAPS. She holds an LLB law degree. Does she have valid reason for this perception? How can the police service draw young professional people to work for them? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member. Honourable Minister, your response.
I would first encourage you to make the young lady apply as a prospective police officer. Those qualifications seem very enticing, and she seems to have a passion. I would want to say there is no reason to really believe that the environment within police is hostile, and hostile to the effect that she can't enlist as a police officer. It is now known very well, sad as it is, that we lost 3 very young police officers in the incident that took place in Hanops River. All of them had joined in 2023 and they got admitted as police officers only in July last year. Very, very, very young, in their 20s, in their 30s. So they are already, in fact, we have less money than we need to enlist more of them. And all of those that have recently enlisted and have become police officers, none of them are indicating any hostility or any concern about the environment. And therefore, I would simply focus my attention to saying that please encourage the young lady to join. That hostile environment is a hearsay. Let her come in, and inside police inside, once she is inside, she has people who are her supervisors, people who write up to National Commissioner. She has ministry to hear her out should any concern arise. And we do receive those, and they do receive our attention, because it's our intention to keep upright people who are able to report wrongdoing and stand for right doing inside SAPS without fear of getting intimidated in one way or the other. I know that there would have been such incidents clandestinely. In some cases, you do hear such after the effect, but that's not what is dominating. That's not what is allowed. That's not what we promote. What we're promoting is that there's no police officer who should be harassed or intimidated for doing what is correct. And again, we want to take this opportunity, warn senior police officers, especially in the stations, who get compromised, and then they want to compromise those who are below them along their ways, but we are here to protect them. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Minister. Good afternoon to you and to the honourable delegates in the House. Minister, we now call on you to respond to question number 100. Question number 100 was asked by the Mkhonto weSizwe delegate from KwaZulu-Natal, Honourable Mokoena, and it relates to the interference in investigations. If you can respond to the question, please, Minister.
To date, there is no evidence to suggest that IPIT has experienced politically motivated interference or any other kind of interference in their investigations. IPIT operates independently, and its mandate is to investigate complaints of police misconduct and criminality without fear or favor. I would, having read this question even twice or three times, trying to understand what the honourable member was actually saying, I certainly came to the conclusion that I think there is temptation to emulate the President of the United States, where you avoid saying things as they are, like South Africa is taking a stand against what Israel is doing in Palestine, and therefore they deserve to be punished. And what we are seeing happening, this is what it comes as a result of that, including even at the risk of integrity of the President of the United States himself, using untruths to substantiate what he wants to achieve without saying so, actually. I read the question. It talks about allegations of politically motivated, and we don't have those allegations. It talks about key figures. We don't know. The Constitution of the Republic doesn't talk about key figures. It talks about just citizens and so on. So we don't know where this false use of words, according to some people, where they come from. And I would like to plead with the honourable member, because he is already in a prominent position of leadership, that use the liberty of Parliament, of the NCOP, to call things as they are. If you know of anybody who is so-called key figure, say so. If you know politically motivated, what, say it, that so-and-so did this and this to politically interfere on the work of IPIT. Don't insinuate, don't go, because what are you fearing? You are not fearing, you are guaranteed protection by cabinet. If you do this, you are promoting mystery, unnecessary mystery in parliamentary corridors, which is a wrong place. Maybe in a rally, you can say, talk like that. But here, say things as they are, because you are at liberty. Use the freedom that we fought for to tell the truth as it is. Don't protect people who don't exist under false pretenses. I'm really feeling very strong that the member should be brave and come out with what he wants to say. Otherwise, there's no evidence that suggests that IPIT is being intimidated in any form or the other. Legislative framework, IPIT Act, provides clear mandate to IPIT, and the functions of this structure, it guarantees them independence, operational autonomy, transparent procedures, parliamentary oversight. In fact, if there was any substance in the allegation, the honourable member has liberty to ask for IPIT to be summoned to the NCOP to be questioned so that they can speak for themselves about that kind of intimidation, whether they're experiencing it or not, because you have oversight as Parliament. Use those powers instead. There is judicial review. There is an amendment to the IPIT Act to try and strengthen their independence. Therefore, I think we should stop adopting Trumpism of not being direct when you do things and when you say things. You try to go via routes that are not plausible. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that reply, Minister. The Honourable Mokoena is participating virtually this afternoon. We now invite Honourable Mokoena to ask a supplementary question.
Thank you, Chair. I find it appalling that there's a new term now, Trumpism, that's being used by a minister in South Africa, because it goes without saying that these cases do exist. Minister, your response raises actually more questions than answers for me. And as the MK Party, we'll gladly give you a list of cases where we feel that undue preference has been done to people in leadership. Are you prepared to take the NCOP into full confidence on high-profile investigations currently under the IPIT's purview to dispel our concerns of undue influence? Or should South Africans conclude that your department has something to hide? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Mokoena. And back to you, Minister, for a reply to that supplementary, please.
If I'm requested to come to the NCOP and indicate to you what IPIT is investigating with their permission, because they are an independent structure of in the service of South Africans, I am prepared to do so without any hesitation whatsoever. But the honourable member need to understand that I don't just off cuff know what IPIT is currently investigating without them making an appointment with us in the ministry and saying, Minister, there is a matter that we think we need to come and make you aware of. When they do so, I allow them to come, and it is up to them and their discretion to tell me what is it and how far they brief me on whatever they are briefing me. I have no authority to summon them and say, give me the list, give me the details. It doesn't work like that. But I can relate to you what they up to now have related to me in the manner that they did. And there's no reason why I should hide it from yourself when required to do so. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. The next opportunity for a supplementary question passes to the Honourable Nue.
Thank you, House Chair. Thank you, Minister. Maybe to take this question to a very positive kind of information that this House may be interested in regarding police officers who at some stage, which is a concern perhaps of the public, may find themselves on the wrong side of the law. As a department minister, are you satisfied with cases that are before the IPIT, that IPIT is attending to those cases timeously and adequately to make sure that there is an instilling of discipline within the police service? Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Back to you, please, for a reply, Minister.
Thank you very much. I am satisfied that IPIT is doing their job and they're doing the best that they can to meet their mandate to meet their obligations under their or in terms of their mandate. They may be short of staff or all the resources to do optimally, but under the circumstances, I am satisfied that they are doing their best to help us to deal with unwarranted behavior on the side of police, and they're doing that without any fear and any favor. They haven't come to us to say they feel unprotected in a particular way, and therefore, if anything, we need to try and give them more resources because unlike the ordinary sometimes wrong assumption on the side of some people in the public, IPID doesn't limit exercise of police when doing their duty, when police do their duty. They don't even stop them from using lethal force. All that they are there for is to make sure that whatever happens, in whatever manner it happens within the framework of the law and so on. And they take complaints when such complaints, and indeed, I would say more than 90% of their issues end up positively assisting all of us to work within the law, and but particularly to refrain from abusing power where such incidents would have taken place. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Minister. The next supplementary question will come from the Honourable Mokai.
Thank you very much, Honorable House Chair, and once again to the Minister. Minister, the instability and the very public squabbles in the management and the leadership of the SAPS is the last thing South Africans need, given the high and increasing rate of crime. What action are you taking to stabilize the leadership and the management of the SAPS to regain public trust, and what results are your efforts yielding in this regard? Thank you very much, House Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Mokai. Back to you, Minister, please.
Other than talking unity among leadership personnel in police, the need for unity, the need for transparency, the need to take everybody's grievances and to take everything seriously. I wouldn't be in a position to say exactly what we are doing right now until maybe at some other point, once we have gone through what we regard as quite high level kinds of interventions that we see are necessary and about to embark on those, just to ensure that whatever we are aware of, whatever we've come to be aware of in the time that we've been in SAPS gets addressed, no matter how sensitive, no matter how difficult, but it is our intention to do so. And when we have gone through in terms of results, we will indicate that. But other than that, the results of our general interventions are that by and large, notwithstanding such challenges, police are doing their work. There's no fundamental breakdown. Instead, what we are wanting is optimal cooperation, so that even when there is a mistake or two that one of them may do and disturbs another, it becomes easy to tolerate that, because the climate itself must be healthy and enabling, as opposed to when people are not in talking terms, people are not in working relations terms, and so on. So there's no breakdown, but there's a need to assist and intervene at some point. But generally, work is continuing normally, and we are not overly concerned about the challenge. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. The last supplementary question on question number 100 will be posed by the Honourable Chirika from the Economic Freedom Fighters.
Thank you, House Chair and Minister. It is important for a unit tasked with investigating corruption and organized crime to have credibility among citizens and to enjoy public confidence. Yet the situation is quite different in this country, as different investigation entities contradict each other in the process of perusing the law. Given that IPID has in the past been docked by allegations of interference, as is seen in the efforts to protect President Ramaphosa from accountability for the Pala Pala scandal, which measures have you specifically put in place to ensure that IPID is insulated against corruption amongst its own members? Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Chirika. Minister, may we have your response to that, please?
Within IPID themselves, there are regulations, there are standard procedures, and all of that disallow them from being compromised in one way or the other. And where such incidents happen, disciplinary action does take place. But your reference to IPID not, in relation to Pala Pala, we've explained that in the past, that there's no hiding any information whatsoever on the side of IPID. We call them, they explained to us that the reason why they couldn't allow publication of their report was because there was another body in this instance that was doing, I think it was DCPI, DPCI, who were doing work of a criminal nature on the matter. And if they were then doing that, it would be undue to then start naming things and so on, while the other arm, what rather, I must say, they don't necessarily ordinarily contradict themselves. They work in synergy. That is why IPID for a while couldn't publicize that report. But there is no expectation from us, no feeling on our side or observation that IPID is compromised in one way or the other with because of pressure from outside and all of that. But I can take this opportunity to say there are efforts within government to transcend the current situation where you have a multiplicity of law enforcement agencies. Instead, towards a unified kind of law enforcement agency in the country for impact and the use of resources within, to make it far more possible and far more easier and to combat crime as such. But at the moment, there are efforts to synergize their efforts to get the results that we want, all of us in South Africa. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Minister. Minister, we now move on to question number 121. It was asked by the African National Congress's delegate from the Northwest, the Honourable Madupe. The question relates to or is asking for an update on the activities of the State Capture Task Team. If you can reply to that question, please, Minister.
The DPCI State Capture Investigation Team has investigated 19 cases that involve government departments and or private entities up to now. 4 cases are on the court roll. 2 cases are pending decision from National Prosecuting Authority, and 6 cases are still under investigation. 7 cases were finalized with 4 convictions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. The opportunity for follow-up goes to Honorable Madupe.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. And once more, thank you, Honorable Minister, for your response to our question. This clearly clarifies us as communities out there that something is being done by the task team in giving attention to the matter that has been referred to it by the State Capture Commission. And there will be that will assist the NCOP to receive periodic response updates on the cases from Directorate for Priority Crime Investigation. However, Honorable Minister, there is a sense of DPCI that it is taking a bit long, but does not complete. Does this happen as a result of complexity of cases, or efforts on the time it takes too long to finalize the matters? So I move.
Thank you very much, Honorable Madupe. Your response, please, Minister.
Yes, we note the concern of delays. Had it been for us, we would have had all these cases finalized just like before, and having like the 7 more than those and at an advanced stage, because ultimately all of us are seeking justice and fairness arising from those matters of state capture. But there would be various limitations like investigators. There's just a personnel and other related resources. But I don't want to emphasize those as to prohibit justice being seen to be done and in time. We will. We have put DPCI under pressure, and we do so from time to time to ask them to speed up what they are doing without undue pressure, and try to assist them here and there where we have within reach the necessary resources. But it's our intention to have them complete the cases as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Let's pass an opportunity now to the Honourable Godsell for a supplementary question.
Thank you, Chair, and good afternoon again, Minister. Minister, in response to a previous parliamentary question by myself, you confirmed to me that the investigation into Honourable Malusi Gigaba is still ongoing, despite the Zondo Commission's detailed findings and sworn evidence being available to investigators for over 3 years now. Minister, how do you justify this continued inaction, and what message does it send to the public about SAPS's credibility in restoring trust and ensuring accountability for state capture when every question that we ask is responded to with a strapline, the investigation is ongoing?
Thank you, Honourable Godsell. Minister, back to you, please.
I do want to say as a starting point that I haven't justified anything, because the question is, how do you justify? I'm not justifying any delays. I've just said we are all concerned about delays or the long time that it has taken to get where we are. But at the same time, I must qualify what I'm saying by not justifying, but just indicating the objective fact that there are challenges in terms of resources, well known to the member and to NCOP as a whole, well known to us. And we are nevertheless dealing with those challenges to the best of our ability. Within our SEPI at some point, I think it was last year, if I'm not mistaken, when I went to DPCI to give them vehicles, new vehicles, a number of them, in an attempt and effort to make their work better manageable, but that's not enough. And therefore, understand DPCI, understand us as ministry to be very concerned, equally concerned and dealing, but we're not justifying it at all. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. We return now to the Honourable Chirika for the next supplementary question.
Thank you, House Chair. Minister, it is clear that there's been minimal progress made to reverse the state capture which exists. What mechanisms have you put in place to curb corruption as per the recommendations from the State Capture Commission report and to prevent the capture of the state in the future? Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Chirika. Minister, your response to that, please.
All the agencies, your SIU, your DPCI, and IDAC in NPA are almost more than, they are under pressure. They are working extremely hard, and police themselves, especially the units that deal with serious crimes, they are hard at work dealing with the very subject that that you are talking about. Yes, as a result of our concerns on crime and corruption, I may as well say we also have to use our platform in the NSOP to continue to reject crime and corruption in our country and condemning it. And whenever we come across incidents of crime and corruption, condemn it not just 10 times, more than that, and encourage these agencies to double their effort in fighting criminality and corruption. But I have indicated that there are efforts that are underway to deal with, to strengthen these efforts in a much more unified, in a much more strengthened way. I must indicate that efforts are yielding fruit. If I could make an example, on the FATF-related cases, that is grey listing of South Africa, we've made progress to a point where Minister of Finance has reported that he is anticipating and expecting that somewhere at the end of the year, we will leave grey listing and get rid of the last matters that are remaining for South Africa to get its colors. And therefore, these are signs and measures that are indicating that we are not taking a reverse gear. We are going forward in the fight against crime, but we still need to double our effort, but not just as law enforcement agencies alone and as police and so on, but all of us. Let's be known, all of us in the country, especially Parliament and so on, that we reject crime, we reject corruption in our country, no matter, despite, regardless of who is involved and all of that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. Let's hear now the follow-up question from the Honourable Peter. Honourable Peter.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, Honourable Minister. The fight against state capture is not merely about prosecuting past wrongdoing. It is a litmus test for the credibility of our democratic institution and the resilience of the rule of law in post-capture South Africa. The complexity of these cases, often involving transactional financial flows, sophisticated networks of influence, and a systematic institutional failures, requires an agile, well-resourced, and deeply collaborative response across the justice value chain. In light of these realities, what strategic mechanisms have been put in place to overcome the structural of operational challenges facing the state capture task team, particularly in relation to complex financial investigation, access to evidence, and international cooperation, and how this work being synergized with the efforts of Department of Justice, and the National Prosecuting Authority to ensure a seamless, effective, and time-bound approach to prosecuting high-profile state capture cases. I thank you, Minister.
Thank you very much, Honourable Peter. Honourable Minister, do you have a reply to that, please?
At international level, Department of International Relations are playing a role in ensuring that all the conventions of an anti-corruption nature requiring cooperation between us and other nations, even on specific cases, those are, negotiations and engagements are continuing, and conventions get revived and renewed, and all of that. And we're part of the larger global community that is fully engaged in the fight. And in some of these conventions, we're even paying to be part of this on a continued basis. Now, internally, domestically, I've explained that efforts are afoot to leave no stone unturned to strengthen law enforcement agency and, to an extent, focus on against state capture. But government at large are making efforts, department by each department, to rid corruption. Each minister, each mayor, and even NCOP and the National Assembly, you would hear us saying that in our sphere of influence, or or where we are responsible, we don't want to be associated with corruption in whatever way, and therefore efforts are underway with various levels of success to fight corruption. But of course, against those efforts, there are those who are sworn enemies of the people of South Africa, and are carrying on and making more efforts as part of criminality in the country to continue with their corrupt ways. And therefore, they will find, and they are finding, law enforcement ready for them and making more efforts to deal with this part of situation. It's an ongoing effort. There's no relenting on the matter. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Minister. Minister, while that brings us to the end of the scheduled 6 oral questions for reply in the House, there is an NCOP rule number 231, which allows for an instance where a written question has not been responded to within the prescribed time frame. We have 3 such questions today, and we are therefore going to give members opportunity to proceed with those questions. Minister, while we acknowledge the excellent work that you and your deputy are doing, we do implore you, please, to help us do our work by replying to questions on time to avoid such instances going forward. But we have the 3 questions before us. The first is question number 191. That was asked by the Democratic Alliance's delegate from Limpopo, Honourable Pienaar. It relates to lost firearms. Question number 191. If you can reply to that, please, Minister.
A total of 79 firearms were recorded as having been lost from 1 January 2023 to 30 June 2024. With regard to the response provided in respect of question 63, it was determined that 1 firearm had been duplicated in the count, which implies that 79 and not 80 firearms were lost during the period. The South African Police Service initiated thorough investigations in terms of each incident of the loss of firearm that was reported as indicated above, and 20 of the initially reported 79 firearms were subsequently traced and accounted for. The SAPS members lost 1 firearm. No case of a member losing multi firearms were registered in the reporting period. only one member lost a firearm, which was replaced with another firearm from police station inventory. The member applied for a new personal inventory, SAPS 108 firearm. The SAPS do not replace firearms on a one-to-one basis. Firearms are purchased nationally, taking into consideration the identified needs, losses, disposals of previous financial year, and the allocated budget to purchase new firearms for the current financial year. A total of 15 members were found liable for the loss and paid damages to the state. Currently, 8 cases against members are still pending. No members were declared unfit. A person becomes unfit to possess a firearm if convicted of an offense in terms of the Firearms Control Act 60 of 2000, Section 103. And then there are details of consequence management, which would be submitted for the attention of the honorable member. We submit.
Thank you very much indeed, Minister. Honourable Pienaar, do you have a follow-up question for that? Honourable Godsnell, on behalf of Honourable Pienaar.
Thank you, Chair. Minister, I am somewhat confused with the amount that you have just given me, and this is unfortunate because I can see from the other answers I got during the course of yesterday and today that because your department has not answered all the written questions that I've asked in the past weeks, the answers were rushed through. But my information comes from the SAPSIS APP. Now, in SAPSIS APP last year, that's 24-25, one priority was to reduce the number of SAPS-owned firearms confirmed as lost or stolen to 587. And that is from an amount of 632 that was lost in 2023-2024. In the latest APP, it is 569, only 20 less than the previous year. So to be clear, the target is only to lose 569 firearms from SAPS stores. So apart from how preposterous this looks, the trajectory is also not looking good. Why are these targets not set at 0?
Thank you, Honourable Godsnell. Honourable Minister, your reply, please.
Well, I would say that it's not necessarily the target, that 560 something. It rather is a target that is worked from a high level based on practical experience to say, this is what has happened last year or the previous years. Let's reduce this given the period and given the rate of improvement, which is minimal, given the environment under which these firearms get lost. This is how far you can aim to go in each year. It doesn't mean that it rules out the possibility of putting it 0. We could put 0, but it may look like merely a figure thrown there, not in line with the reality that we are working on. So I would say that 0 is ideal, of course, even though we may need to add there, say, over time. But the reality that we're facing year to year is that minimal reduction while doing what we are determined. That doesn't mean that we are sparing any moment or any effort to try and do the best that we can. But let's see, let's go forward with both figures, the one that we're putting at the moment, minimal as it may be, and looking as if it's not to reduce on a serious note, as you are saying, but let's also put 0 in some distant future, because that's where we want to get all of us. But reality under which these things happen points elsewhere. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. Next follow-up question will come from Honourable Mananiso.
Thank you, Chair of Chairs, and as well, thank you, Minister. I like the fact that you have given a response with regards to the ideal and reality. And indeed, I want to agree with you by saying zero, it's an ideal issue. So my question is that, Honorable Billy Order, my question is that where can our people report these issues that has to do with these stolen firearms, and as well in your operations of Shanyela and Okaimolao, have you been finding these particular stolen firearms in your operations?
Thank you very much, Honourable Mananiso. Your response to that, please, Minister.
Almost in all Shanyela operations that take place, there would be a report that would indicate the number of firearms seized. And it's always, even if it's one firearm, when they report, I always say, oh, yes, we are minus a firearm, we are minus 200, we are minus 5 firearms. It depends on the number that we get results for. So, yes, indeed, Honorable Member, Operation Shanyela does help us to reduce. But even outside Operation Shanyela, most importantly, when criminals, especially wanted criminals, confront police, inevitably reliance for them is to use legal firearms to fight police. And when they fall, we almost in all cases retrieve firearms. But in some cases, it will involve firearms that would be belonging to police, even if numbers would have been erased and all of that. So it's not just Operation Shanyela where we retrieve also in some other instances. But to take you to confidence, we are in advanced discussions on ensuring greater safety. I would speak like that for now, for state firearms, even when they get stolen, to make it easy and quicker for us to retrieve them. Unlike at the moment, and we're looking forward to that particular era in the near future, so that it becomes part of our measures to prevent this problem. Because indeed we feel bad when we lose firearms and that those firearms gets used in committing a crime. We will report in the near future how far that process would have gone, but it's one of the decisive measures that we're taking to ensure that we reduce the number, maybe to zero, once those are in operation. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. We return to Honourable Chirika for a supplementary question. Honourable Chirika.
Yeah, thank you, Chairperson. A couple of years here in the Western Cape, a colonel in the police service was sentenced to imprisonment for the theft of approximately 2,000 firearms from the police. It is a certain Colonel Prinsloo. Minister, I want to know that ever since, has your department put adequate measures in place to deal with theft and fraud and the smuggling of firearms? And if so, what steps have you been taken? And if not, why not? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honourable Chirika. Minister, your response to that, please.
I want to believe that the last time we lost such a number of firearms through theft was with Colonel Prinsloo at that time. It has not happened after, which is a measure that proves that measures have been indeed taken to curtail the problem. However, it still happens that police stations at times get attacked or get under attack from criminals, and quantities of firearms get stolen and so on. Although we retrieve them as and when they get arrested, but there are those measures that have been taken to better secure state firearms in police stations and in other armories to prevent just that scourge of losing large quantities of firearms just willy-nilly like that. And you will recall that, among other things, Prinsloo undertook to cooperate with the state, and the matters are still going on along those lines. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. The final supplementary question on the subject will come from the Honourable Farmer, again participating virtually. Honourable Farmer.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, in light of the timing of this question, I have not prepared, or I do not have a question prepared. I will, however, ask the following, Minister, and maybe you might not have these numbers available now, and I would gladly want to receive them written then if so, but how much of police firearms are involved in gender-based violence where it is used on partners or wives? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honourable Farmer. Back to you for a response to that, please, Minister, though it may need to be later in writing.
Yes, I would do so, Honourable Chair. It's not possible to answer off cuff, but there are such incidents, especially when where perpetrators would be a police officer using their firearms to perpetrate a GBV-related crime. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. We now move on to written question number 458. It was posed by the Honourable Godsell relating to gang-related murders and attempted murders. If we can have your reply.